Hi, my name is Samuel Hardy, and we are looking at Popcorn Sales Excel spreadsheet of their sales over the July months by location. First, we will be looking at how to make a pivot table. We click on the Pivot Data worksheet at the bottom here, and we will select all the information in the following cells. You click over the selected cells and drag down. It will select all the information that you want. You can drag that all the way down to the bottom, all the cells, and let go. To create a pivot table, you will click on the Quick Analysis tool that pops up after you select all the shaded cells. You click on Tables. You see all these many options. You can do spark lines, totals, charts, and different types of formatting. We want tables because we will be looking at the pivot table options. Now, click on that, and a new sheet will come up. Now, the information in the pivot table came up in a new sheet, as you see here. There are many different sheets, and they are all named differently. This happens to be sheet 1. Now we want to rename that. We will select, you can rename the sheet by clicking the right trigger on the mouse. See right there, the rename, and you just type in what you want. Now for this particular one, we want to name it Pivot Table 2. Now as you can see in this pivot table, you have a drop down arrow. If you click on that arrow, you will be able to select all the different popcorn types if you wanted to look at a certain set of data. Say you just wanted to see the truffle. You click, or if you don't want to see the truffle, you click it. You can unselect any of them by just clicking the check mark. But if you just wanted to see one of them, you could just click, say, Old Bay. That's all you would do, and you push OK. And that's all you would see. Now, that's not exactly what we would want. Say you wanted to see them all, select all. It's as easy as that. Excel makes this very, very simple to use. Now, another resourceful use is this pivot field over on the right. You can click and drag from rows to filters, and as you can see, it will change over here, the output. Now, say we wanted columns. Click on that and just drag it under columns. It all depends on what you're being asked to do. But say you wanted values, you could put that in columns. You could put it all together, or you could put it back the way you wanted it. It's all up to you and what is being asked of by your company. Popcorn Sales, in particularly, wants it in labels, so that's the way we keep it. Next, if your company wants to know the date of a specific time that the popcorn was sold, you can click on date. And that will show you exactly the quantity of what was being sold of the particular type of popcorn and the exact date. So on July 4th, 2014, 18 quantities of popcorn were sold. Now, in Excel, we have these options up here, the Analyze Tool, Design tab, right here. And as you can see, we can apply many different styles. If you want to see all the styles, you can select that arrow, which expands the whole thing. Now, me personally, I prefer the lighter colors. So I'm going to select a nice blue, Pivot Style Light 23 for LeBron James's number down in Cleveland when he first began in the NBA. Now, if one would ever like to make a change of the table and filter something out, say I didn't want any of the dates in there anymore, I would take the date and put it in the filter. That would filter out all the dates. Next, we would create a slicer. So you go to the Insert tab, and as you can see, there are many options. We want the slicer option. So we click on that, If you want everything to be selected, you click every single thing. Say we want to leave out the quantity tab. You just don't select that. Push OK. And we have many different slicers you can select and drag all over the page to see your different data. But we want to keep it all nice and neat, lined up at the top right, out of the way. Now, one thing I forgot to mention with these slicers here, you can select any of the dates, and as you can see, the states on the right will change because the data that we are selecting and asking the slicers to slice out of the way will change. Say we wanted to see the truffle kind of popcorn, select that. How do they do on July 5th, 2014? Select that. These are the states they were sold in. Select New York, and all the correct information is selected. Next, for the kids at home, we'll make a little pivot chart for one of the brands of popcorn. So you select all the brands, all the data here. We're going to make a pivot chart. So you go to the Insert tab, select the pivot chart down arrow. And you know what? Let's do this, the 3D clustered column chart, just to make it very easy and simple to see. As you see, it pops up, and it's very easy to see that the original blend was the finest seller of all the sellers. For the next step, we're going to cut and paste this pivot chart and put it in a new sheet. So it's simple as that. You cut it, and to add a new sheet, you push the little plus arrow all the way to the bottom right. And as you see, a brand new sheet pops up. And we could do anything with this. We could start a whole new workbook if we wanted. But you know what? We're going to paste in what we cut. And voila, there it is. Say you don't like how it came up as sheet 2. Well, as you remember earlier how we rename a sheet, you right click and push rename. Let's name this one Pivot Chart 2. And you push enter. Now say your eyes are going and you just simply can't see how it's that because it's so small. And even worse if it was like this. Now, to resize it, you just click the bottom right and see how the mouse hovers over and becomes this expander-like piece. You just right click it, hold, and drag as you see the plus sign pops up, and you can make it as big or as small as you want and let go. And look at that. Now that's something to be proud of. You can make it, you can click and drag and put it wherever you want. We'll leave it right there so the folks at home can read it nice and clearly. If you want to play around with this a little bit, kind of improve the quality of the sensation your eyes get, you can play with it, you know? Let's put the data labels there, alright? See how they pop up at the very top now? What if you did the axis title? Click on that, push the expand. Now as you can see, the table is here, and what if we wanted to play around with it a little bit? You click on that, click on the table itself, and the format box opens up, and you can play around, click whatever you want, really. What if we wanted to fill up the text with a different color? Well, we were sticking with blue, and how about orange? I mean, it makes the eyes really light up when you see it. So we'll click that. See how the numbers, the title of each popcorn is in orange, and the total. So it looks like we're running a Dunkin' Donuts thing now. Now, the main idea of making this pivot chart is so the business or company that you work for can understand all the raw data that is being presented. So if they wanted to find out the popcorn that does the best, they can see it with the original blend. It sells the most at 180 quantities, which is much better than the poorest of the workers who's just above the 110 mark, which is the truffle. And the field lists over here, if we wanted to be a tad more clear or specific, you can, as I said before, click what you do not want and the checked ones will remain. Push OK. And you can ultimately, it's filtering out what you want and what you don't want. So you can mix it up any way you want, really. We just put the quantity down there. Say we want the state. That'll put it by state. And this, you can play with it. If you wanted to see how they do in New York, now you can. But what we just saw, and up here is the undo, what you just did. You can do that. You can go back. Ultimately, there's no stopping what you can do. You're only limiting yourself if you do not fully understand all the wonders Excel has to offer. You can go all the way around, check out what you did in all the different worksheets here. And honestly, from one business worker to another, this is the future here. This is how we look at details. This is how we look at business sales. And this is how you find out West Virginia sells the most popcorn. As I said earlier, my name is Sam Hardy, and signing out from showing you how to use Excel and all the fields and panes and charts and whatnot, and of sums and totals and all the good stuff of online sales and pivot tables. All that has been shown to you in this tutorial by Sam Hardy in this Advanced Excel business class. Thank you very much for your time and patience. Good night and God bless.